So now we're recording this, and wow, I have to remember to turn the record button off when I'm leaving. So I have to remember that, Linda. Okay, so anyway, this is a little bit of an outline, and I didn't even look. How many people do we have here? How can I check that?
So there's 22 people in attendance minus the 2 of us, so there are 20 students.
Okay, all right. And later on, well, I'm not going to poll, but anyway, the first part of this period, and this is one of the values of VCN, we get to talk. And bantering, which is another word for kind of talking, is good. Okay, so the first part of this is my agenda, and I'm going to talk about some things. These are talking points that I thought about. And Linda, buried in here are 3 polls I would like to take for the students. And so when we get to it, it will be, I'll kind of articulate the poll, and you'll make it into something that's consumable, and then we'll do polls on some of these things. Okay.
Got it.
And then you have a slice of the agenda where I ask you to talk about anything you want, but maybe GSGs in the videos. And students are always welcome to ask questions. You can raise your hand or shout it out or something, and we'll deal with your questions and provide answers. And so that will be good. So anyway, that's kind of just the banter part of this, and and we'll invest as much time as we want in that, but then we'll start doing some real work. And the real work is we're going to just glance back on stem plots, but then we're going to talk about the new stuff that you were supposed to have studied. So measures of center, and you were also supposed to study box plots. And actually, I should have added box plots there, and I am actually prepared to talk about box plots. And we'll do some word problems from the book, and if there's time, I'll introduce you to variations, and I'll talk about, the videos to come. So anyway, that's sort of the game plan. So now we go into the gem part of the discussion. Now, one of the things I want to emphasize so that you all understand this is that as much as possible, I and Linda, because she's helping us with this course, we're trying to treat these 2 classes as one class. So when you go to a GSG, it is not going to be just people who are in the VCM class. The net people are invited to that, and they should be coming too, at least as they're interested. And so I'm teaching these classes as one. And for them, that means they're invited to the VCM. They're supposed to watch the VCM videos, and they're also supposed to, watch the net videos, and I share things with them. And they, in fact, are invited to come at this class. And what and in fact, maybe Linda, why don't we do just a little poll if you're willing to do this? Let's find out, and you figure out how you want to word this, but I want to know if anybody from a net class is here. Now, you're totally anonymous on these polls, so you can just vote. And so Linda threw it up there. There's 2 choices, so just respond. And I do appreciate you participating too. And I'm not surprised that there's more people from the VCM, but there is at least one person from the net course, and God bless them. I think they'll find this useful. They certainly can ask questions and things like that. And some of you are holding out. We're not going to wait forever for those, because 2 of those are Linda and me. And so there's only one person holding out, and they're maybe not responding because maybe they're feeding a baby or letting a dog outside, or who knows what happens in these VCM things. But anyway, that's good. But everybody understands, I hope, that I'm treating these as one course. So please understand, when I send those notes saying watch the videos, I'm expecting you to watch the videos. Now, I'm also a realist, and I realize that people might not have already watched all those videos. And I'm going to say, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, but you are underprepared if you haven't watched those videos. Now, I am going to do some things, and I'm doing different things here than I do in the videos. And so that is, it's different things that we'll do, but they're responsible to watch the VCM, you're responsible to watch the net. So as much as possible, try to do that. And And I think given that those things are stored out there where you can reach them, you know what we did in the announcements, that's going to be good. Okay, so I'm really leaving that unless anybody has any comments, and I know you got some general Q&A, but if anybody's got any comments about treating the VCM and net as one class, I'm going to count to 5 Mississippi and see if anybody's got any questions.
Are you saying that we're going to go over the videos that you posted on the announcements today?
No. I mean, I'm glad you asked the question, so thank you. Is it Eve or Eva?
Eva?
Eva, thank you, Eva. Okay, so no, Eva, that's not what I mean. I'm not going to show you the videos. I'm really basically striving not to repeat things. Now, for you to understand this class, I'll provide enough context that you can do it and you can participate in the class, and the class will be worthwhile for you. But I'm basically doing additional examples from that stuff. So in the best of worlds, I say, yes, you understand, you watched all those videos and you understand them. Now, again, I'm not naive. I know people are busy and they say, oh, I didn't really understand. You wanted us to do that. So you were not, anybody who hasn't done that won't be punished or there's anything like that. But what will happen is that as we're going through this, it would have been better if people had watched the videos, and the expectation is in the future that you will watch the videos. And Eva, I hope maybe I answered the question, but even Eva, if you didn't watch the videos, you're going to be just fine, except you might say, wow, that was kind of quick. Well, it will be quick here. So I'm not repeating the lectures in the videos here. Those are there, those are for you to watch. Was that clear? And I was not trying to be mean with that either.
No, thank you.
Okay, Linda sometimes tells me I'm mean, but anyway, okay. So, and I will count to 5 Mississippi again. It says somebody else had a question about that. Yes, Naya, go ahead.
Yes, hello. I bought a Math 1120 person e-code, but I have difficulty to sign in.
Okay. Are you saying when you clicked on the videos, it didn't show the videos?
No, I didn't sign. Just I wanted to sign, but it doesn't allow me to. Just there is some problem.
Okay. Well, I will tell you. I think these things are pretty robust. So I'm thinking the issue is probably not an issue that we will work in class here. But what I will do is I will suggest that if you either go to the GSG or come to my office hours or whatever, I have office hours again tonight, you're welcome to come and we can work through your issues. But generally what you should be able to do is go to the announcements and click on those videos that I have, and it should take you to YouTube and basically start playing the videos. So that's what should happen, and we will work through any technical difficulties that people have, but we're not going to probably do that a whole lot in class here. So are you okay?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right, and again, I'm not saying go away. I'm just saying we're not going to work on that a whole lot now. Now I'm lowering her hand, and I have it looks like it is Layla?
Yeah. I have,
Okay.
so
Go ahead.
I'm getting the book, but because I'm out of state, I'm overseas. It takes like 2 days. I'm trying to get the code. I'm not gonna get like the physical book.
Okay, and again, we will talk about book updates, but you're asking questions about it now. That'll be okay. You will not be, it will be okay. And in fact, as I said before, there are some students, and I actually don't know what the distribution is. Maybe Linda will want to opine on this. Linda, how many of the people do you think end up buying the book? And Linda, I know this is just a swag.
I'd say about 25% of the class ends up buying it.
Okay, now, but you might be someone who says, no, I really benefit from that. And those 25%, some of them bought the access code already, and they say, well, I have to use it for something. But I do try to give good notes and things like that. But you'll be fine, Layla, if it comes. So don't worry about that. And Megan has her hand up too. Megan, I'm recognizing you now.
for the assignment that was homework, the LS A or whatever, when we do it on the Excel sheet, do you have to show your work? Because when you type it in, it just does it for you. Like, do you have to show that, or is just the answer for the equations fine?
Well, what you're going to do is you're actually going to do both things, okay? And I will have Linda, and Linda, remind me of this. We're getting a lot of things we need to do, and I'm very conscious of the fact that Linda will be leaving during part of the period. But what we're going to do is we will show you how that will happen. Here's basically, though, Megan, the short answer. There will be an answer sheet. There's not right now, but there will be an answer sheet. And you go in and you say the answer is 5. I know it's not 5, but you give me an answer. But then there will be a second place where you will be uploading a PDF. And the PDF, you take a snapshot, and it truly can be a snapshot. And you can use software like Microsoft Lens. That's free software. It's an app on your phone. You can do that to change the picture you take of your Excel spreadsheet into a PDF, and then you will upload that.
Okay. Do you want us to
So
type in, though, like when you do the
you have to type all that stuff in anyway to get the answer.
yeah, but do you want us to write out like that we added all these to get that, or will you like?
When Linda and I show you some spreadsheets, we'll answer that for you.
Okay,
And
thank
Linda's
you.
saying something here. Let's see what's Linda. Linda, say what you wrote, because it went away. Please.
So I just said once it's been set up, then I'll show them how to submit it in class on Monday.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Now, you don't have to wait until then, and don't be sending me emails say there's no place to submit it, because I will do that, but that's not at the top of my list right now. Okay. All right, so I'm thinking that's all the questions about VCM and net as one class, and then we went into other things. Linda, on the book update, I did send out the, and Layla, I'll be with you in just a second. I did send out the documentation about how to do that. And Linda, I would like to do a poll somehow to figure out, has anybody got the book successfully the way I sent it out? So yes means yes, I got the book. Aha, there's a 1 yes, that's all I really care. It worked. Okay. So some of you might say, oh, I didn't try that yet. Well, I understand that. But if you didn't try it yet, at least we know it works, because it did work for someone. And I'm not going to ask that someone to identify who they are, but someone actually made it work. And Linda, that's not you saying that, is it?
No, it is not.
Okay, so there's somebody out there, a student. I didn't say yes either. So it does work. Okay, Layla, you have a comment or something.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I don't see like any of the homeworks, or I was gonna ask you from before, or anything like our projects, what are we supposed to do in Blackboard. I only see the
Well,
announcements and videos. I don't see like the homework that we're supposed to do. They're posted, or where should I find them?
well, you'll find it in the syllabus tab, and when we get to the LSA update, I'm going to ask Linda to, pop on that and show that to us. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And I think I did put it in the syllabus tab. We'll see. Okay, but I think I did.
Okay.
Okay, so book update is good. I delivered. The book is there. It works. Somebody got it. Okay, so you should be able to make that work if you want to make that work. Okay, let's move on to LSA 1 update. Now here, Linda, what I'd like to ask you to do, if you're willing to, is start sharing a screen or something. Go to Blackboard, look in the syllabus tab, and show us where LSA 1 is, and throw it up on the screen, and then I'll talk about it a little bit if I have to.
Okay, so I'm literally just in the syllabus tab. It is revised LSA 1 GPA calculations on Excel, and then you can open that PowerPoint once it downloads.
Okay, and she's going to the one that's the meaty part of it. So this is what you need to do. So there's this hypothetical Hannah that took all these courses and got all those grades. And I want to know what's the GPA, and I ask you to round that to the nearest thousandths somewhere I ask you to do that. Maybe I said that on the video, but anyway, that's good. So that's there. So later that should answer your question. It's there, and that's good. Okay, and the reason this said the reason it said revised is I actually had done this and I had this being due on Monday or something, and Linda said, that's not a good idea. Why don't we have it due on September the 1st? That gives the students a little bit more time to go to GSGs or something if they need help. And I always listen to Linda. I don't always do what Linda says, but I always do listen to what she says because she is a bright young woman, and so I listen to bright young women all the time. Okay, so anyway, that's what you got, and so Layla, that should answer your question. Let's go back to the PowerPoint show, please. Wait, now Amber has a question. Yes, Amber.
For the credit hours, would we just go on the College of DuPage page and find the credit hours off of there?
Yes, you would, and that's teaching you that sometimes you have to dig for data. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to double check. And the G2G, could you remind me what time that is?
The guided study groups are going to be on Mondays and Wednesdays from 5 to 6 right before class, and I'm going to send that Zoom link out later this week.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and so that meant they didn't start today, but they'll start next week or something. There was a question mark on that, Linda. Next week, right?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, excellent. Okay, so we got that. And now, so I'm, and Amber, your hand is still up. Does that mean you just haven't taken it down? Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Good. No, I was not trying to be rude. I wanted to find out if you had another question. Okay, then what we're going to do is I'm moving on. I have 365 poll, and Megan said, yeah, Megan shared a hint with you guys, which is good. So that's fine. And by the way, you should help each other. If you have a chance to help somebody, you should help them. That is good. Now, Linda, we talked last time about students really wanted to be getting 365. And again, these are anonymous polls. Nobody knows what you're saying or anything else. But I'm asking, how many got 365? And so this is a poll. Linda will make a yes/no poll about that. Oh, wait, what's she going to say? Yeah, Linda's giving you additional hints there. But, and again, you can look in the chat. Okay, so yes. Oh, goody. This is great. So some people have done it, and that's good. And it's working, and so you have that's 365. And that's going to put you in good shape this evening because we're going to do that. And some of you haven't yet. Well, it's not too late. You can go and do it. And Linda, I think, provided guidance as to how to do that, and people figured out how to do that, so that is good. Jessica has asked, does she need to buy 365? There will be, first of all, there's no cost for 365, and I am going to tell you this. So Jessica, you can get by, but let's suppose that Linda is going through something with 365 for us in the class, and you might say, well, wait, my Excel doesn't look exactly like that. Well, that's because you're not looking at Excel 365. So that's the only benefit to it. So you don't have to do it. You can keep the Excel you got, but I will be asking you to do things, and I'll be asking you to do things that Linda is doing. So you have to make sure you know how to do that with your Excel. And sometimes, frankly, it's different. Okay. But certainly, I think you can do everything we're talking about with your Excel. It just will be a different kind of thing. Okay, and now I'm moving on to the, okay. And now I'm going to go on to the wellness poll. And Linda, let's just ask people to respond, between 1 and 5. 5 is it doesn't get any better than this. And Linda will make up something that makes sense, or gee, I'm terrified and things are bad, and then probably have a middle thing that says I'm okay. So Linda's going to do a little wellness poll before she speaks, so she'll throw up something. Please respond to this. Again, nobody knows who's saying what, So nobody's going to chase after you if you say whatever you say. No one will know what else you say. Linda, did my question make sense to you?
Yep, just starting it now.
All right, great. There it is. Okay. And I really do like it if you respond. I mean, if you're there, that makes me know someone's out there. That's good. Okay, well, we got most people. And so, Linda, for those people who are doing, are struggling or terrible in the class, what kind of advice would you give them?
Definitely come to the guided study groups next week, and I'm also working math drop in a couple hours as well. So that is also an option if you're available in the middle of the day. And I'll send out all my availability later this week. So you guys will have several avenues on how to reach me and how to get help if you need it.
And that's Linda, and Linda's, and you know, she is a wonderful resource. But I'm also going to tell you that I have office hours also, and if you show up at my office hours, you know, help is possible. And going to the Learning Commons also, and they're open 71 hours a week. So there is abundant assistance there. And Linda, just while I'm thinking about it, if you're willing to share that drop-in thing as part of your announcements about the GSG stuff, that would probably be useful for the students also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Linda. I'm going to call this Haley, and maybe it should be Holly, I'm not sure. But anyway, I will say Haley. You have a comment.
Yeah, you got it right the first time. I just needed to tell you. So I haven't been feeling good, and I emailed you yesterday because I couldn't function, and I thought the Zoom link was the meeting link. So I missed class yesterday. I'm so sorry about that. I just needed to get that
Well,
out.
no, and it will be fine, and I'll tell you why it's fine, because Linda is posting this VCM link from yesterday or whenever you sent me the email and stuff like that. So you didn't miss anything except the opportunity, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Okay.
Thank you. And also, so we do need the book for this class, right?
There is a book for this class that I put together. Okay, and I
So
put
we
together
don't.
a couple of other, but it's not required. And so one of the things that we talked about at a bit of length is Linda suggests that maybe 25% of the students buy the book. Okay, so that's what we have. And Linda's showing you where Monday's recording is, and thank you, Linda. And I'm glad, Haley, that you're feeling better, or at least I hope you're feeling better. So that is good news. Linda, I'm turning this over to you, and you can say anything you want to say, of course, and then we'll go to student Q&A.
Well, we already covered the guided study group times. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. If you guys do have questions outside of those times, then as always, feel free to email me, and I'm putting my email in the chat right now, but it is also available via Blackboard.
Okay, so maybe that's all from you, Linda, then for now.
Yeah, I think that covers it for now.
Excellent. Okay, I'm throwing this open for general Q&A. I will count to 10 Mississippi here, and then we'll start doing some real work. Okay. All right, so we're going to start doing some real work, and we'll start doing some things. Linda, I'm going to ask you a question, okay? And I would ask other people questions, but Linda knows that she knows I'm abusive to her, you know, so she's just used to it. She has thick skin, but I don't want to, you know, have anybody else feel pressured. Although if we were in a real classroom, I would call on you, and not to be mean, but I would call on you just to, you know, get the juices flowing. Linda, when would you use a stem plot, and when would you use a histogram?
Stem plots are really nice for back-to-back stem plots. So I would definitely use those anytime you're comparing two sets of data or when the data is in the tens or hundreds. So it's easy to organize as a stem plot. A histogram is better for when you're looking at one set of data and just kind of trying to see what the shape of distribution looks like.
Okay, so Linda, in that video that the students watched, Raul Lopez was getting 750,000 observations of lightning flashes. So what did he do, and why does that make sense?
He did a histogram because you're organizing large amounts of data. So it gives you a nice general picture, whereas stem plots, then you're working with individual data points. So you want to work with less data points when you're making a stem plot.
Okay, and last question I'll ask you about these two things is any, I'm going to use the word granularity, lost with the data if you draw it as a histogram?
There can be, depending on how wide you make each boundary.
Okay.
So depending on how you break up the data, then it could lose a little bit of the shape. So you have to be careful with that.
And is there any loss of data with a stem plot?
The stem plot accounts for each individual data point. So no data would be lost.
Excellent, thank you so much. And you were to watch a video on measures of center too. So I'm just going to advance the slide. Now we're going to start doing some work. Okay, so we talked a little bit of histogram, and we're going to do a histogram. And Linda, wow, I sort of I should have done this before class, but I ran out of time. Can you go, and you may have to go back to an earlier class that we did. Can you access the, well, we'll do that later. But Linda, as we're juggling things, eventually I'm going to try to ask you to do a histogram, and we'll do a histogram of the Bears database. And that's an Excel database, and it's back there in another course, and I may have to go and do that. But let's do some measures of center, okay? Now, one measure of center is the mean. And so here is the equation for the mean, and it's right up here. I will read this for you. It says if x1, x2, and xn are n observations of a variable from a sample, then the sample mean x bar, that's how you read that, x bar, and that's the way they talk about in the video too. X bar is, you add up all the x values and you divide it by n. And this fancy thing here is called a sigma, and they use that in the video too. That just means add them up. So you're adding up all the xi's and you're dividing it by n. So that is called the mean. And we spend a lot of time in the video on that, so that's something you want to know. But here's the equation for that. It also talked about a measure called the median. And the median of a variable is the value that lies exactly in the middle of the data when arranged in ascending order. And so M could represent the median. Now there's a difference between the mean and the median. And Linda, I'm going to throw this question to you. What does it mean when we say the median is more robust than the mean? And Linda, sometimes that word isn't more robust. Sometimes they'll say more resistant than the mean. Now, and Linda, I know you will do this, but some of the students watched the video, and so they say, yeah, no, I understand that from watching the video carefully. But some of the students might not have gotten to watching the video, so explain that to them just a little bit gently. But I'm talking about the red part there, please.
Okay. So if the median is more robust than the mean, what that means is the mean is subject to change if you change a maximum or a minimum. So if the minimum changes dramatically, then the mean will also change in the same way, but the median is going to remain the same.
Okay, good. All right, and the median, again, is the middle score. And here's a recipe, and we go over this recipe in the video for finding the median, and Linda will be doing this with you, okay, as we do some examples. Now, Linda, I'm hoping, and maybe you can search and see, but I'm hoping that test 1 and test 2 data is in the syllabus tab. If it's not, I'll go get it. Can you check for me, please?
I'm not seeing it in the VCM course. You may have put it in the net course.
Okay, I know where this is now, so I'm thinking about this. I am a co-host.
You should be a moderator, yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to share my screen. So we have to get out of this for me to share my screen, or how do I do that? I'm trying to remember.
Go under share content, the little box with an arrow coming out of it.
Box with an arrow coming out of it.
Yeah, so if you have the chat open.
Wait, no, here, I think, maybe I think I did. Yeah, I found it. Share content. So I'm sharing content with you all. And I'm going to be sharing my screen. Okay, and so I'm sharing my screen. All right, I'm going to go get it. Okay, so bear with me. Now this says I'm supposed to be sharing my screen, but I still have, oh, there we go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a browser. And I opened this browser, and I'm going to go to Blackboard. I hope that doesn't mess me up about being in this course.
No, it should be fine.
Okay, a lot of times I'm amazed with what Blackboard actually does and doesn't do. So now I'm logging in here, new, and this is going to be, let's see. Bear with me, guys. We're almost there. Okay. I did put it in this class that I'm teaching. And I'm looking in the syllabus tab. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy test 1 and test 2 data. And I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to be copying it to our course. And this is VCM Fall 20, it's VCM 02. So I'm copying it there. And I am going to put this in the syllabus folder. Okay, so Linda, soon after I submit here, and you guys may have to refresh your browsers. I don't know. I hope not. You should be able to find it there. It has been copied into that. So Linda, can you look in there? And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Linda is going to try to go into the.
Yep, just got it.
Okay, so Linda, can you throw that up in the in the Blackboard thing so we can be looking at it then?
Of course.
And here's what I'm throwing the ball to Linda. Okay, so what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to look at 2 tests that I gave once upon a time. This is an Excel spreadsheet, and it's there. You can call it up if you want to now because Linda found it. We have test 1 and test 2. Now, this is data from an actual course. You might say, you mean you're showing us students' records? No, I'm not, because there's no names here. Okay, so there are no names here. But this is real data, and I'm pretty sure this was in a grade book, so this probably was some alphabetical order, but you don't know what any of the names are. But you see, this data is kind of garbage because you just have a bunch of numbers, and you don't know if people did better on test 1 or test 2 or whatever. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the measures of center here. And so, Linda, I'm going to be asking you, and I'm just going to turn the floor over to you, and I won't be talking. But I'm going to ask you to talk about this, and I want you to find the mean. And Linda, do it by calculation, and then you can show them how to do a fancy Excel function if you want. But then we're going to do the median. We're going to do that for test 1, and then we're going to do it for test 2. And I'm going to ask you, just in the interest of time, for you to talk through both examples. Now, so she's going to find the median, and she's going to find the mean. And Linda. Later on, just so you don't throw it away, later on we're going to find the mode, but we haven't talked about that yet, so I'm going to talk just very briefly about that when we go back to the show. But anyway, so Linda is finding the median and the mean. I think she's finding the mean first. So anyway, Linda, the floor is yours, so go ahead and talk, please.
Okay, so if I'm finding the mean, then the first thing I need to do is add all these test scores up. So I'm going to do equals sum. Sorry, 7 is trying to join me in this calculation. I'm highlighting all the data, and I can close my parenthesis and hit enter. Now, this goes down to row 27, but that is excluding these two, so there are 25 data points. So I can take this number, that is the sum that we just got, and divide it by 25. So I'm going to do equals, click on that previous number, and divide that by 25. For the
And notice that it would, okay, so and notice that Linda clicked on that, and that was really useful because she didn't have to retype it, and she also didn't retype it wrong. Okay, keep going, Linda, I'm sorry.
So the average or the mean is 75.48. And then you also wanted the median, correct?
I do, and we're going to do this for test 1 and test 2, but yes, do it however you want.
Okay, then I'll do the mean for the other one as well. So same idea, I'm going to take the sum, and I can highlight my data, close the parentheses, hit enter. And now, because there is one extra data point, then I'm not going to be dividing by 25, I'm going to be dividing by 26. So that's going to be equals, click on that number we just got, and divide by 26. Now, if you did want to do this the fancy way, then the Excel formula that you can use is equals average. And then all you have to do is just highlight the data. So I close my parentheses, hit enter, and it does give me the same answer. So either of those formulas will work. It's just whether or not you want to take 2 steps or 1.
Okay, and Linda, I know I'm interrupting you, but I'm going to pause to see if anybody has got any questions about what Linda's doing, because then I'm going to turn Linda loose to talk about the median. And nobody's asking any questions, so Linda, that was apparently a brilliant job. Okay, now talk about the median.
So to find the median, the first thing I need to do is sort the data. So I'm going to highlight all this, and then I can go under sort and filter and do it smallest to largest. Now, because I have 25 data points over here, then to find where the median actually is, then I'm doing equals, take that 25 data points, add 1, and divide it by 2. So this is telling me to count down to the 13th position, not that the median is 13. So starting here, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 80 is in the 13th spot, which means that 80 is my median.
And of course, notice that the median and mean are not the same thing.
Yes.
Keep going, Linda. And are you okay? I thought I heard 7. You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm good. She just found a squeaky toy, so she's trying to play.
That's good. Okay.
So if I have 26 data points, then I'm doing that same formula from before. So I'm still doing equals, take that 26 plus 1, and then divide that by 2. Now that's going to give me 13.5, which means that my median is actually between the 13th and 14th data point. So that's going to land me between here and here, but first I need to sort my data. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the right thing. So I want to continue with my current selection. It wanted to expand it because I had that 1421 underneath it. But now I can look at my 13th and 14th data point. And what I want to do is take the average of those two. Now, between 54 and 55, then the midpoint between those is going to be 54.5. But if I didn't know that, then I could always add these up and divide by 2. So 54.5 would be my median. And that tells me that half the data is below 54.5, half the data is above 54.5.
And okay, so what you notice here is that the median and mean are two different measures. Also, what you perhaps notice is they really sucked on the second exam and they did well on the first exam, or at least they did markedly better on the first exam. And we had that from measures of center. Okay, now, and I do have this on a PowerPoint slide. But I'm not asking her to go back. And by the way, this is something that's not in the video, but I covered it in the lecture and it's covered in the book, is the mode. And the mode is the most frequently occurring data point. Okay, so Linda, let's go ahead and do find the modes for each of these as well, because that's the measures of center.
So over here, then I see 66 has occurred twice. Let's see, 68 has occurred twice. 69 has occurred twice.
Nice use of colors, by the way.
Thank you. And then just going down the list, I see 87. 88 is only once, and the others are only once. So we actually have 4 different modes here because each of these occurs twice. Now, if we had any of these occur 3 times, then we would only have 1 mode, but because all these are tied, then we do have 4 modes.
Any questions of Linda on median and means? And again, you might say, oh, gee, I could do these on my calculator. Well, you could, but it wouldn't be as fast as what Linda was doing this. And by the way, Linda, if she wasn't talking and lecturing, she would do this really fast. Okay, so this Excel is an extremely useful thing for you. There's a Emily's got a comment. Can you see it, Linda?
No, I cannot.
Okay, she asks some. She said something like, where did you get 13.5?
So the 13 and the 13 and a half. So to get those, then we took the number of data points, and I'll put this over here with it. So this was n plus 1 divided by 2, where n is the number of data points.
And you can see it does make a difference whether there's an even number of data points or an odd number of data points. And Emily said thank you, so apparently that answered a question just fine. So that's good. Okay, Linda, can we go back? And Linda, I am watching the time for you as well as for me. So can you go back, please, to the PowerPoint show, and we'll just look at the definition of mode, but we already found the mode here. Oh, let's find the mode on the other one. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I see 35 has appeared twice, and 46 has appeared twice. And I'm just going down the list looking for what appears more than once. I see 57, and then I see 71. And nothing appears 3 times. So again, we would have 4 modes, which in this case would be 35, 46, and then we also had 57 and 71. So those would be my 4 modes for test 2.
All right. And Linda, if I had qualitative data instead of quantitative data, like for example, if I sent Linda out to the parking lot at the College of DuPage and I said, find me the average make of car, and well, she'd say, yeah, but you got Chevy and you got Fords and you got maybe Mercedes. I don't know. You have different cars out there. So which measure of center would work with qualitative data, Linda?
So you would have to use a mode because you can't take the average of a word.
Okay, so I think that's good treatment. Let's go back to the PowerPoint show, please.
Okay. Yes, today's class recording will also be posted on YouTube probably sometime tomorrow.
Okay, so we finished talking about that, but all right, go to the next, wait, I can do that, I'm sorry. There, okay, this is determine the mode of a variable from raw data. And this is just the definition of raw data. So what you do, it's the most frequent observation that occurs in the data set. And so to compute the mode, you tally. Linda sorted things, and she went through and she says, well, how many times do things occur? Now, it does say some more things, though. The data point that occurs most often is the mode. A set of data can have no mode. Let's suppose nothing was repeated. You would say there is no mode. You could have one mode. That means there's one car that's out there more than any others. Or it could have more than one mode, as in Linda's example. And it says if no observation occurs more than once, we say the data has no mode. By the way, you're looking at things that I tore out of the book. This is what the book looks like, but these are my notes about this. Okay, so that is good. I'm going to the next slide, Linda. And here's a summary about the mean, median, and mode. This is a nice summary, and I might do this in some of the videos. Okay. And this talks about those. And again, this is an exhibit from your book. But now we're going to talk about a thing called the 5-number summary. This is also called a box plot. And Linda, I'm going to try to, and I'm not trying to challenge you, but, well, I guess I am a little bit. But what I'd like to do is to ask you to draw a box plot for those 2 tests. And I almost bet, Linda, that will take us to the time when you have to go. But which is okay, because the next thing is there are going to be problems that I will set the students about. So that's just fine anyway. Okay, so I will handle that just fine. Now, but here's what the 5-number summary is. And again, if you took notes during the videos, you knew this, but here's what you have. You have the minimum, which is the smallest data point. You have Q1, which is the first quartile. That marks where 25% of the data is. The median, we've already found the median, and that's the second quartile. The third quartile is 75% of the data, and the largest data value. So the 5-number summary says you got the minimum, first quartile, median, third quartile, and maximum. So that's what I'm asking Linda to find, and that is the 5-number summary, and you can draw this as a box plot. Okay, Linda, and do as much as you can. I don't want you to be late for your meeting, okay? But go back to the test 1 and test 2, and let's give it a go, please.
Okay. So if I'm going to get my 5-number summary, then I already know that 25 for test 1 is going to be my minimum, and 97 is going to be my maximum, because I already sorted the data from smallest to largest. So that's already been taken care of for me. Now, the only other things that I need are going to be my first quartile and my third quartile, which are really just the medians of the first half and the second half of the data. So if I'm looking just at my first half, I'm not including the median. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 data points. So if I follow the same formula from before, then I'm doing now 12 plus 1 divided by 2, not 122, but 12. And that gets me 6.5. So I'm looking between the 6th and 7th data point to find my first quartile. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm looking at these 2 data points. So then the midpoint between 66 and 68 is actually going to be 67. So that is going to be my first quartile, and I'm going to highlight that in yellow. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing for my second half, also counting down 6.5 spaces. So starting with the 81, since I'm not including the median, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. So between that 88 and 89, then the midpoint is going to be 88.5. So that would be my third quartile. Everyone okay with those numbers?
So the 5-number summary would be for test 1.
That would be 25, 67, 80, and then 88.5, 97.
Now somebody had a comment, and I don't know if it was a question or a comment. So could you glance? They just did it.
Yeah.
All right, and maybe it was just a comment, but
If it was 88 and 88, then the midpoint between those would still be 88. Because you're just taking the average of those two numbers.
but it would be an 88 that's the average of those two numbers.
Yes,
So it
not
would
the
include
88 that you see.
Yes, yes. Okay, good. Excellent. Okay, let's do the other one because it's got a different, or did you already do the other one? I don't know, you didn't yet.
I did
Okay.
not do test 2. So for test
I think you have
2,
time.
then we had 26 data points, so that means there's 13 in each half. Now to figure out my midpoint, then I'm going to do equals 13 plus 1 divided by 2, and that's going to tell me to count down to the 7th spot. So starting up here, then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this 46 is my first quartile. So I'm going to highlight that in yellow, and just for the record, that 35 was my minimum. Now, because the 54.5 was my median, that means that this 55 is in the first spot of my second half of the data, since the median is what divides it in two. So this would be my number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this 61 right here is my third quartile. So that means for test 2, then my 5-number summary is going to be 35, 46, 54.5, which we got over here, and then 61 and 85 is my maximum. So these are my 2 5-number summaries.
And then, Linda, you have just enough time to draw those box plots, and you might want to go to the whiteboard. I don't know how you want to do it, but.
No, it'll be easier to do it on here.
Okay, good.
So
that's fine.
If I go under draw, then let's see. I'll do test 1 in purple, and I'm going to start this at 25. Go all the way over until I hit 67. And then my median is at 80. Now I'm trying to keep this roughly proportional. My third quartile is at 88.5. And my maximum is at 97. And then I would turn those middle pieces into a box. Now, if I'm doing test 2, then I want to make sure that all the pieces line up accordingly. So that 25 should be less than my 35 for test 2. So I'm going to make that about here. Then I go to 46, which is significantly less than the 67 that I started with. So I'll put that around there. Next, I get to 54.5, which is still less than the 67. Next would be my 61, still less than the 67. And then lastly, I get to 85, which is just a little bit less than the 88.5 from before. So I'll put that about in the middle right there. Then I can draw my box and connect the tails.
And sometimes those are called box and whisker plots because you see the box, and some people call those things whiskers. So that's good. And I don't know, I think of cats when I think of people that have whiskers like that, or critters that have whiskers like that. But anyway, sometimes it's called a box and whisker plot. And again, you can see here that test 1, the class did much better on test 1 than they did on test 2. in this case, and that box is called the interquartile range, or IQR. And again, we'll sometimes talk a little bit about that. That's a range of numbers. So the interquartile range of that first one goes from 67 to 88.5, and on the second one, it's the other numbers, 46 to 61. Okay, questions of Linda. She's about ready to go, but questions of Linda on what she did here. Amber has her hand up. Go ahead, Amber.
Okay, for test 2 in the second quartile, did you say you didn't include 55 since it was 54.5, or you did?
So the midpoint, the median here is the 54.5. So this was the middle line in all of it.
Okay. When you were counting down though from 54, did you start at 55 or you started at 56?
So the 55 is included in the second part of the data set.
Okay.
Just like how over here I started at 81, here I started at 55.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're not including the median.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Layla has a question. Go ahead, Layla.
Is this recorded?
Yes, it is. And I'll be posting this on YouTube sometime tomorrow.
If I want you to repeat this, can I meet you like in after class? Not today.
Not
like
tonight, because she has an appointment that she's going to.
No, I mean
almost.
not tonight.
You
Because I
could-
didn't like really.
Yeah, you can meet me in the guided study groups. You can meet me in math drop-in. There's a million times where we can talk about this some more.
Okay.
And the
thank you.
million is a bit of an exaggeration, but there are many times when you can do this. And not to mention, I am going to have office hours at 9 o'clock. So if you want to come and talk about it then, that's fine. Linda, you should probably be, whoops, let's see. It's going to be posted, Monica, again, about the guided study groups, when they're going to be. They're going to be basically the hour before class happens, though.
Yep.
So that's what's going to happen there. Linda, put me back into the PowerPoint show, and I will bid you adieu. Thank you for everything you do. You always make good contributions, and have safe travels and a good meeting. Okay.
All right. You guys take care.
Oh, and throw up the PowerPoint show too, please. There she did. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we did a lot of things there. So we went through and we did the 5-number summary and things like that. So you see, these are videos that you want to be watching, and the videos are actually really quite good. But again, you should watch the videos with a pencil and paper. They do examples and they explain all this stuff. It's explained in the book, and you have some explanations here. And Linda's going to be posting this this video tomorrow, and I think she posted it in YouTube, and she'll be announcing it, and all that stuff will be happening. But now I'm going to go, and in the next part of the meeting, and I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about this. But these are word problems, and this is a problem that I could ask you on a test. I'm not going to say I am. This is a problem from your book, and there's a bunch of problems in your book that you could practice on. I just tore this one out because I thought this was good. So I'm going to explain this to you, and then I'm going to give you a short amount of time to work on this. You've got Excel, things like that. You want to stay within the thing, but we'll talk about how to do this. Okay, so Mr. Zero finds the mean height of all 14 students in his statistics class to be 68.0 inches. Okay, so I don't know if he asked them or he measured them, but anyway, he came up with this number. Just as Mr. Zero finishes explaining how to get the mean, Danielle walks in late to the class. Danielle is 65 inches tall. What is the mean height of the 15 students in the class, including Danielle? Okay, I'm going to give you, I'm looking at the clock, I'm going to give you like 3 minutes to do this with Excel, but this involves some thinking and some algebra. So think about it. And I am looking at my clock. I am going to give you 3 minutes to do it, and then we'll reconvene at 7:05 by the clock I'm looking at, and we'll go over the solution. Looks like someone wrote 14 on there, which is okay, except, and that might be the right answer, but I am going to erase that. And again, not because I don't like the answer, just because I'm going to write on this in a minute.
My bad. I thought only I could see
Oh
it.
no,
I was
and by the way, it's not too bad. I'm not angry or anything. It's fine. In fact, one of your classmates back in the day would write on here, and I'd say something, and this, I mean, it didn't make me mad at them, but they would do things like this. They would put little dots, and then they would do this, and then they would show tears and stuff like that, and that was just counterproductive. So I didn't like that. But I mean, I didn't get angry at them. I just kind of ignored them. And you're fine. Okay, let's go. Now that could be the answer. It could not be, because I didn't work it. And I guess I'm going to just jump in and do this then. So what happens is I am going to go do the pencil. So here's what happens. The mean, that was you added up all the numbers, and so that's the summation of, and this is going to be xi over n, and n was, before Danielle arrived, was 14. And this is the formula for the mean x bar. So this was 68. Now what that means is that if you added up all the 15 students, and this is xi, what you had with Danielle, that this sum would be, and this is a little bit of algebra, guys. So this xi, the summation of the xi's, is going to be 14 times 68. And we'll figure out what that is using XL. So it was 14 times 68. So that was what this added up to before Danielle arrived. But after Danielle, this is 14 times 68. And then Danielle arrived. So Danielle arrived and added 15 to the, excuse me, not 15, she added 65 to the total. So that means what you would have to do to find the mean for the 15 is you would have to take this number here, 14 times 68 plus 65, and divide this by, and I'm having trouble with my spacing here. I wish we were in class, but we're not, so we're doing it there, would be 15. So this is what we would have to calculate, and this might be 14. Certainly it would, well, no, I don't think the mean is going to be 14. It says, what's the mean height? Well, it's going to be this, because this is what the new total is, adding everything up. So let's figure out what this is. And I am going to go to XL with this. So I am going to, and I need to think about how do I share my screen. So I'm going to stop this show, and I need to think about this. Tell you what, I'm going to ask you guys to do this. And you should be able to do this. So I'm going to ask everybody to take 14 times 68 and add 65, and then divide by 15. And Jessica's done that, and Jessica told me that it was, and if I knew how to change the screen, I would do it here, but I could figure it out, but it would probably be embarrassing. So it drops to that. So the answer to this question is this one. questions on this, that was 67.5, and that doesn't even look like 67.5. But the answer is 67.5 to this problem. Do you have questions on this problem? And I'll count to 10 Mississippi in case some people want to ask. Okay, that's good. So there were no wait on the test. Yes, you can use scratch paper on the test. Somebody asked that. Okay, let's go to this one. Now this actually is a bar chart, and one of yes, I can show you how to do that calculation in Excel, but I've got to think about how. Maybe I just say in show. That didn't work. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how to get out of this. Okay, I'm just going to, I really want to be share. Oh, I know, I remember. Hold on, I know how to do this now. So I'm going over here, and I'm going to go to, I'm going to share an application screen with you. And I will share this with you. There we go. Hold on. Here we go. There it is. And now I'm calling up Excel. And actually, my Excel's got some garbage here, so I really want to get a new screen. Jessica, can you see Excel? Okay, and Jessica chatted back with an answer, so I'm hoping that's yes. Can somebody see Excel? And I'm not looking at the chat, I'm looking at Excel.
Yeah, I can see it.
Excellent. Now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because it might be hard to see, but here's what I would do to do this is I would say, well, okay, I'm taking 14. So I would type 14 in there. And then I would take 68, which was the other one. Now I'm just typing the numbers in here, 68. So now I've typed 68 and I typed 14, so that's good. But then I'm going to add Danielle's height, which is 65 to this. So this would be 65, that's Danielle, okay. So then I would put my answer here and I say, well, and now I did thinking on the other page, and maybe that's what you would want to do on your scratch paper, but here I'm writing a formula, so this would be equal to, and that's how you do a formula in Excel. So I'm clicking on that guy, then I'm multiplying, and this is going to be the shift, and that was the wrong thing. I don't have enough lights on in here in this room I'm in. And that's wrong again. It's the shift on the 8. There we go. And then I'm going to be multiplying that times this guy. And then I'm going to be adding, which is going to be the shift there. That is plus. And then I'm going to click here. And now I've done the formula. And so what I have is, I didn't do that. Oh, I had to divide this by 15. So I take this number, and I divide it by 15. And this should be Jessica's number, and I got 67.8. And Jessica, maybe I misread your note, but it's not, it's 0.8. Okay, so it went down.
I did say 67.8.
Oh, you did? Okay, I misread your note, but that's correct. And by the way, I wasn't arguing with it. I think I wrote 67.5 on the other slide. Okay, so I've done this for you, and that's how you would do that in Excel. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so we're kind of near the end of the period, but I do want you to get your money's worth. I will tell you that an essay question I sometimes ask on tests is, what does it mean when the median, to say the median is more resistant than the mean? Well, that means that the mean is affected by these low numbers. For example, if I were to go back to Linda's Excel spreadsheet and change and throw out that 25, which was the low score on test 1, the mean would go up because I threw out the low score. So the mean would be very dependent on these extreme values. The median, though, being the middle score, doesn't depend on that at all. Okay, so I think I did assigned videos where you were supposed to look at measures of center, and you were supposed to look at actually the first video about introduction to statistics too, and then you were going to look at measures of center. There was a stem plots video. There is a box plot video, and I think that probably are all the videos I asked you to do. I'm going to be asking you to look at a couple more videos. Maybe there'll be 3, I don't know, but there'll be a handful of other videos that we're going to do, and you have opportunities to catch up. I have office hours tonight and things like that. Linda has a lot of availabilities, and the Learning Commons is there. Okay, I'm going to throw it open for questions or comments about any loose ends. And by the way, somebody wrote a comment that I can't see. Maybe I can. Hold on. I think I'm going to, hold on, I'm doing something here. I'm going back here because I think somebody's giving me comments, which is okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And now I think I can look at the comments. So now Veronica asked, where can I find the book? I'll say read the announcement that I sent and the email that I sent to you about that. And so what you do is, well, Veronica, I'm going to disagree with you because somebody in the class got it to work because I asked, and there was only one person who tried it, perhaps you. So anyway, what happened? And I guess I'm going to ask, and if you don't mind, you're really trying to help classmates out, who in the class did make it work? And Elizabeth left the session, so I don't know if she probably didn't. Is anybody willing to help Veronica out? Somebody said something. Yes, Amber, thank you. Okay, so Amber says, I think you can copy and paste the URL. And so I think Amber may be suggesting maybe you retyped the URL and maybe made a typo or something like that. And again, perhaps you couldn't click on it because it turns out that software gets very complicated, and that was in an email that I cut and pasted in there. So anyway, and Amber, I'm not trying to embarrass you. Good for you. You got it to work. You are the one who got it to work, right?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I wanted to wait to see if my book actually came because I ordered the physical copy.
Okay, and you can get the physical copy from there too. Okay, I have no idea, and no one is fessing up to being the one who got it to work. But we did ask that. That does work because somebody said it worked. And again, I'm not being mean to someone, but and maybe they left the class already. Maybe they're at Linda's meeting. I don't know. Is the person who?
I'm the one who said yeah.
Okay, good. Kayla, can you give any advice to Amber and some of your classmates about that, please?
Well, this is Jacqueline, but I said yes because I thought you were asking if like I bought the book in general, but I got it from the bookstore and they sent me the e-code like through the mail, so.
And then you went to that website I gave, yes?
No, I have not tried that.
How did you get the book?
Well, I bought it online. I thought you were asking if we just bought it, so that's why I said yeah.
Okay, the course ID was the one I told you. It's Bradley. It's something like Bradley. I showed you the course ID. It's something like Bradley Spring 2021.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got the code. That's all I have.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
the
well,
same thing I have.
so I'm going to suggest watch the video where I explain how to do it
So I
and read the
did.
announcement.
Sorry to interrupt. I did, and I typed it a couple of times, and I tried two different. I tried my iPad and my computer. Maybe I thought it was just my iPad that didn't want to work, and it just says that this page cannot be found. So I don't know if it's maybe because it's from the previous semester.
Well, no, it should still be there. So I will contact them and I will write you another email. And I thought I was really excited when somebody said they'd gotten it. Okay. Anyway, you don't need it tonight. I guess I'll send you some more email because there's a lot of operator error or confusion out there. So I will work on that. And by the way, when I'm saying that, I'm not being mean or negative to people. It's just they have to make it work. This did work last time, and I was thrilled that I thought someone made it work this time. So I will contact them, and I'll make sure that it's there. But that really should have worked. Okay, well, we're over time, so we're finished for the night. Time is precious. Each day must count. Do the math. It will make you strong. Stay in touch with your emails and your course announcements. Bye-bye.
Thank you.